Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are here with one of the best backyard wrestlers and maybe indie wrestlers. I don't know if he ever went on to the indie scene, but we are here with a good friend of mine, Phoenix, aka Tim. We're not going to go into full name because we don't need no full names. Am I right?
You are absolutely right, sir. Thank you for having me.
I am. Thank you for coming on here. Alright, Phoenix, go explain to the people who you are and why you started wrestling.
Oh, God. Well, I am one of the greatest backyard wrestlers you will ever see.
Yes.
Start with that. I never actually made it into the Indies. I was training like 10 years ago. My trainer died on me,
Oh.
and they basically the company and the school. I was like halfway through training, and I just never got around and had the money to do it since. This year, actually, I am going to, once I get some things taken care of, I'm going to go to a school and get pro trained so I can finally live my dream.
Well,
Uh,
that's great.
Basically, man, it started in like '96. Like I was watching wrestling. I think it was actually the '96 Royal Rumble. Yeah, Shawn Michaels won it, and basically the moment I knew I wanted to be a wrestler was the moment he like super kicked Kevin Nash, Diesel, whatever you want to call him, out. Like he gave him the sweet chin music out of the ring to eliminate him. Like it, and like the whole crowd erupted, man. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen, and I was just like, I want that. I want that feeling.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we all wanted that feeling because it was great. Watching back on it and seeing him super kick Diesel, that was pretty cool. Because, I
Yeah,
obviously wasn't alive for that.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, it was great. It was honestly like one of the coolest moments, and that actually super hooked me. Even back then, I wasn't really a huge wrestling fan. I watched it because my mom's ex-boyfriend liked it. Um, but that right there, that pretty much hooked me. And then I saw the Undertaker, and I was definitely hooked. Like right there, I knew like that's what I wanted to do with my life. As for getting started, honestly, like at that moment, pretty much my brother and I wrestled each other in our living room and all that stuff like that. My cousin came over, we wrestled in my cousin's backyard. Uh, up until I was about like, I want to say 13, 14 years old. My brother was in a backyard fed called XWO, Extreme Wrestling Organization. And they had a ring. It was
Ooh.
basically, a makeshift ring. It wasn't a fucking pro one or nothing, but
Mm.
it was a makeshift ring. It was done very well. It was basically like how DBW's was, but I guess like the ropes were a little stronger.
Ah.
It was like full, like really thick rope. But yeah, he brought me in, and he was like, "Dude, you love wrestling? Come wrestle!" Like, and I basically had an initiation match where I got the living shit kicked out of me, and if I came back, they respected me, and I was able to stay. And my first match ever. Oh, also to mention, since I was my brother's lackey in the thing, his name was Primetime Brian Neely,
Ah.
and they basically made me. They called me PT2. Like I had to be his little lackey.
Ah, that's mean.
Yeah, dude, it sucked. And I didn't even get to pick my music. It was Freak on a Leash by Korn, which I actually ended up using for a long time. Uh, but yeah, so I didn't get to pick my character or anything like that. It was straight, you're doing this. I was like, I don't care, man. I just want to wrestle. And I had one of these like old school, like play school toy trains that were just like, they weren't like, you know, thin plastic or anything like that, like thick plastic. And I got it cracked in half over my skull in my first match.
Oh my god, that's hardcore.
It's just think of like the worst possible first match you could ever have of getting your ass kicked, and that was pretty much my match.
Yeah. I
Uh,
remember my first match where a certain someone dropped me on my head, cough, cough.
I don't recall that at all.
It's cool. What happened is he went for his finisher.
So,
I didn't tuck my
I
chin.
just
I landed on my head.
had a lot of props though, like pretty much because that happened, you gave me one of like my best moves ever.
Well, I mean, yeah. Of course it would.
So like, ended up getting like the Phoenix Springs Blood Eagle, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so that was my first match, and then Saturday came around, and they're all like, well, they used to call me Little Neely too because my brother's huge. And he's like, "Oh, is little Neely coming?" I'm like, "Bro, I'm right here. Let's do this." And it went on from there. We did that for about 3 years, I want to say, until everyone pretty much got out of high school, and they all pretty much started on career paths and stuff, went their separate ways. So that's why we closed that down. But as for how I became Phoenix, basically what had happened, I guess I was doing good enough, doing well enough, and they were just like, "All right, we're gonna let you pick your character. You get to pick your music, your finisher, your name and all that." He's like, and I'm literally like, I'm in the school at study hall or whatever with the owner of the company, and he's like, "Dude, you got less than a week to come up with a character," and I'm freaking out, I don't know what to do. I was never, I wasn't super creative at the time, so they were just pretty much like, "All right, pick something and run with it." So the week before that, I turned on my brother. And I didn't even attack him. And the funniest thing about that is we had an ongoing feud for almost 3 years where we never actually had a match.
What?
It was literally just, we would attack each other at random, and it would be months apart from each other. It wouldn't even be like 1 week after the other or anything. It's just he'd attack me in a match, and then 3 months later I'd come at him with just for no reason. But yeah, so I didn't know what to do, and I was playing, I think it was SmackDown Know Your Role or Just Bring It, one of them. I think it was Just Bring It, because it was the first one for PS2, and I'm going through the different call names and stuff, and I saw Phoenix, and I'm like, wow, that sounds really cool. And I had a computer at the time, so I go online, and I'm looking up what, Phoenix and what that's all about, and the whole thing where it's they die and then they're reborn from the ashes, and I'm like, well, that sounds super cool, and it's kind of relevant to my situation. BT2 is dying, and from the ashes rises Phoenix. So I did this whole in my first ever interview too, on camera, my first little promo, just talking shit, and that was pretty much the start of Phoenix. That went, and it's been, oh god, how long has it been now? Pretty much almost my whole career now. So about 16 years, 15 years I've been Phoenix. There were 1 or 2 times I played off different characters, but mostly Phoenix the whole time.
So, what was, wow, that's actually a really interesting story to see that you've actually managed to stick with the character for so long while others went to 5 or 6.
Oh yeah. Oh, Bryce Van Pelt going through 18 in a month, yeah.
Yeah. Chad Nestor too.
The cool thing actually too is my other alternate character, which I actually stopped doing because there was a WWE wrestler with the same name, I found out, but I think it was the indie, his indie version was that name. It was K.C. James, K.C. James. The way I actually tied that in is that's technically the Phoenix character's real name.
Oh.
So I basically played it off as I was still Phoenix, but I was no longer going under the name Phoenix. I was going off as Casey James. And that lasts, I think I did 1 season as Casey James, maybe a season and a half, and I came back with it.
What would you say that your best match as Casey James would be?
As Casey James, against Sexy Scott. In the old company I was in, BCW. We had, and actually, at one point I'll show you that we have it on mini disc DVDs, but at one point I'll find a way to show you the match. It's actually a really good match. In BCW, we were in a group called The Gathering. It was me, Cyrus, a wrestler named Tim C, and a wrestler named Daryl Troy. And we were basically the big stable. We were all we were the main bad guys and all that stuff. And we had a match, and the thing was our ref, Rick the ref, the one that refs our pay-per-view. He was basically, we bought our wins off of him. I came out, you can see in the beginning of the match, I came out, I handed him $10, and I handed him 2 beers. So I paid him off, and basically the finish was Scott goes for a diamond cutter. I push him off of me. He gets mad, or he gives me a diamond cutter and I kick out or something like that. And he grabs a chair. He's all frustrated. He goes to hit me with it, and Rick grabs the chair out of his hand. And while he's fighting with him, I push Scott into the chair. He hits his head off the chair, and then I give him. At the time, I did a Ted DiBiase's old like rock bottom thing, like the $1 million rock bottom.
Yeah.
I don't remember what he calls it, but I used to call it the Ted DiBiase bottom.
The Ted DiBiase bottom.
Yeah, that's literally like even when it was my move, that was the name of my move, was the Ted DiBiase bottom.
That's perfect.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I gave him that 1, 2, 3, and then my ex tag team partner I was in. Like this was really like fresh on me. Just started the group, and I turned on my tag team partner. He was like a special enforcer for the match, and Rick after the match just cracks him right in the head with a beer can. Beer goes flying. It was hilarious. But yeah, that was probably my best match as Casey.
That's really interesting. I hope I get to see this match one day. Now, to transition from, you versus Sexy Scott to your best match as Phoenix, what would that have to be? And before we do anything, before you retired, because we'll get back onto that in a bit.
Yeah. As Phoenix, now here's the thing. I feel that my best wrestling has been this year out of my entire career. Coming back, being in ECW and DBW, my best matches were definitely this year. Like I faced the best that I could possibly face. As it stands right now, I feel that my best match as Phoenix was the last one I had with Navon McDonald.
Oh, you versus Navon McDonald. That match was glorious. Not to play on for a Bobby Roode pun here, but it was so great. I was there live, and I think I was recording it, but
honestly, it was one of those few matches where, see, I'm super critical on myself. I always think that like I had a bad match, even though like the match can be really good. Like you and I, we put on a really good match.
We did.
At weekly shows. And I literally watched that thing over and over because it was a good match. But like at the time, I was like, well, that was probably awful. I'm just super critical on myself. I'm hard on myself as a wrestler. And honestly, this is one of the only matches where, like, the entire time, even though the entire match was me getting shit kicked out of myself, like, it told a story, man. It was like there was drama everywhere. Like I bled. Like it was just a fantastic match. The finish was perfect. That was probably my best match as Phoenix. If I had a runner-up, I would say my match against Mr. Judgment when I lost my mask.
You and Navon, that's a story and a half. Did you have any planned spots that didn't go through with the match?
There were some things that Navon wanted me to do that I didn't do. Like he wanted me to get more offense, but I honestly, it got to a certain point in the match. I think it was really early on. Like he started working my leg like crazy, and I just felt like, all right, he's working my leg, and then I did the whole thing where I went to do my corner combo, and I fell because I couldn't run. And right there, that was the second I felt like, oh shit, now we're doing something here. Now something's cooking. And at that point, I was like, all right, so I'm just gonna do this like I underestimated Navon, and he's gonna just kick my ass. And that's basically how it went the whole thing. He wanted me to get more offense in, but there was actually an instance oh my god. Someone broke our table that we were gonna use.
I do know the name. I remember telling you, and you were so mad that day.
I'm just going to leave it nameless for right now because I still get a little salty when I think about it. I actually have to give mad credit to Jay Madness.
Oh, yeah.
Because Jay Madness took the broken table and the table that wasn't as broken and, like, jerry-rigged them together so we had a decent table for this spot. But like I was just super upset because like that spot was just perfect. Like he wanted me to give him the Phoenix Wings out of the ring through a table. Hell yeah. There was actually we had planned a different finish. The finish we did was my idea because I honestly just wanted to get like thrown through a table, and I was trying to figure out how do you hit me with the guitar and then finish it, and I thought that would have been great, and that's how we finished it. But the original plan until it started snowing was the table that I went through. He was gonna hit me with the guitar, throw me on the table, and then climb on top of the shed and give me a frog splash off of the shed through the table.
Yeah, that would have been insane. That was going to lead me on to my next question.
I feel like it would have erupted. Like, there would have been people that weren't even there that would have been screaming.
I mean, I bet, like, I would have been certainly flipping out.
People would have been like, I feel a disturbance in the force.
Just like people all the way in Britain.
Yeah. It started snowing, and he was really nervous about slipping, and I was just like, dude, don't risk it. Like, hit me with the guitar, fucking throw me through the table, let's go home. That's all you gotta do. And it ended up being a really great match. Like, people loved it. I still actually hear things about it.
Oh, we all talk about it. We do.
That's one of my biggest things, man, is that this year I've honestly just... See, the thing was, like, for a while, like, even before I retired, I wasn't in great shape. Like, I weighed 100 and something more pounds than I do now. I wasn't nearly as good of a wrestler as I am, but I just, like, straight up, this year when we came back, I lost weight, I got back in shape. I wanted to be the best wrestler I could be. And then, we got an actual pro ring now, like, there's no way I can't be good, So I just try to put on the best matches that people talk about. That's my whole thing.
Indeed. Now, speaking of things with wrestling rings, once you do go onto the indie scene, would you ever still work with the backyard scene with us?
Absolutely. I've told Bryce this multiple times because every time I bring up going pro, he seems visibly upset and he keeps saying, like, dude, you're gonna leave us. Like, I'm not gonna leave you guys. If there was an instance where I had to, like, say, go to a different state or something like that on a Saturday, maybe I wouldn't show up for that event. Or if there was an instance, say, I got called up to go to ROH or some shit. Like, I mean, I'd probably have to stop then. I'd still come to, like, when I can. But I absolutely want to continue doing it. Like, you guys are family to me. There's no reason I should stop, doing what I'm doing. I just probably wouldn't be nearly as active.
True. That's the man right there, ladies and gentlemen. Phoenix. Good man. If you had a dream opponent in the backyard wrestling scene, anyone, who would it be and why?
There are two people that I absolutely want to face. I can't necessarily say super dream opponents because, I mean, I don't pay attention to a lot of other companies. There are some companies I do pay attention to, BBW, BEW, obviously, some other companies, but I don't want to wrestle some of them. I'd have to say, honestly, my two big ones, I want to fight Yankee, because I just think a battle of the big men thing would just be fantastic.
True, and
like,
you guys are great
like,
in the ring.
I don't even care if I have the belt. I don't care if it's for a belt. Like, I just think that would be insane. I think it would be legendary. It would tear the house down. The other person would actually be someone who's currently inactive, but hopefully will be active in the near future. Our cameraman, my cousin Dave.
Yeah.
He used to wrestle, actually, back in the day with me. I want to say I was maybe 17 or 18 the last time him and I had a match. And we actually had a pretty entertaining match. it was, it was on mattresses, and I mean, wrestling rings weren't a thing. I mean, the craziest part is I first started, like, my first company, there was a wrestling ring, but I mean, wrestling rings weren't a big thing back then, especially pro ones. Like, it just wasn't happening. No one had that.
Yeah.
So we're wrestling on mattresses, and there's, like, our turnbuckle was basically like a wall. And it was right next to, like, it was made out of grass and dirt and everything. It was right next to the mattresses. So him and I had a really good match. He went up and he's on the wall, and I'm like telling him, like, yo, jump on me, but like, you've seen how big he is. He's a big guy. He didn't want to kill me. So eventually I just ran up and I go and I'm attacking him, and he tells me to throw him off the wall. And I'm like, you crazy son of a bitch, no. He's like, no, just do it. So I throw him, dude, and he launches himself gloriously. Like, so honestly, like, he wants to get back in shape. He wants to wrestle. He wants to, when he's ready, like, I would love to face him. I would love to have another match, 12 years later.
I would love to see that happen. Let's hope he can get back into shape.
Happy.
What do you think your favorite weekly match was that you've ever wrestled in? Like, just on a weekly
My
episode.
entire career, this year.
In here and in other companies.
If we're talking just ECW, it was the match with you. You and I, we put on a really good match. A lot of the spots were clean. There wasn't, like, I think maybe we botched one thing, if I can even think of anything. You had some really good spot ideas. The finish actually ended up being perfect.
It was.
I thought we were gonna botch that, but it ended up being perfect. Like that. That's my favorite ECW weekly. If I had a second ECW weekly, it would have been when Bryce and I, our first tag match was against Mike and Pat. MP3 and Pat Hardy. Basically, it was the 9/11 event. I'm not even sure if you were there yet.
No, I wasn't. I didn't come in until October, but I did see the 9/11 event.
Yeah, it was the 9/11 event. We Bryce and I had a tag team match, or had a match against each other. Mike interfered because me and Mike were feuding it. This is like this is right when I came to ECW, basically. I think it was like my first event back after winning the tag team titles, because the first ever ECW event this year, me and Cyrus won the tag team titles. But yeah, they interfered and we set up this tag team match, Teddy Long style. And yeah, it was really good. Like, if you go back and watch it, there was a point, and I still feel bad for this. We had MP3 tied up in the ropes, and I was a couple inches too close, and I just went in for my super kick, and I actually just kicked his freaking teeth in. Like, he told me he was seeing double and shit. Like, I feel bad about it, but it was still, like, if you see it, dude, it's one of those moments where, like, when you just see, like, a super kick and you just know it was flawless and the sound is perfect and everything, and it just makes you kind of shiver a little bit. Like, it was like that. My entire career, honestly, I can't even think of one. Like, those two are fresh in my mind, but yeah, I can't really think of a weekly one, because back then it was a lot of it was a lot of squash matches. It was, I was best friends with the owner of the company, so I always got my way. So I always kind of just, like, I wasn't very humble about wrestling back then in BCW. It was like, screw you, I'm doing this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Would you say that ECW has taught you anything about wrestling and whatnot?
Absolutely. If it wasn't for ECW, and I can't super 100% only credit ECW because DBW also has a ring, but if it wasn't for ECW, I think I would know absolutely nothing what I'm doing in a wrestling ring. Because honestly, that's where I honed my actual craft in a wrestling ring. Like, all my wrestling was mattresses and trampolines back in the day, and I never did aerial stuff. Like, there was I'd jump off a trampoline or two, but like, I would never do anything like I do now, like the coast to coast, or like launching out of the ring, or even like doing a suicide dive or anything like that. it taught me to be better, basically. Like, it helped me train myself to just become a better wrestler and make put on an entertaining show.
That's really...
It also taught me family, very important, and it's not always blood. Because I love every single one of you guys. You're like little brothers to me, except for Bree, obviously.
She's a sister to you.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Like, you guys are like family to me, and I wouldn't give up any of you up for the world.
You too, Tim. We all love you. I'm not gonna lie, we do.
I appreciate that. At least someone does.
We'll take you in like open arms.
I appreciate that.
If you can recite your first match, like, if you remember what it was from ECW, what was it, and what was it like coming in for your first match in this company?
My first match ever was Cyrus and myself, and at this time, this was before Cyrus and I started the Dark Brotherhood in DBW, and we were actually, like, this was fresh off of DBW, because we went to a DBW event just like a weekend before the first ever ECW event. And we had a match against each other in DBW, so we were doing this whole, like, we don't like each other rivalry thing. And actually, Bryce and a lot of the ECW guys were at that event, too. We even had there was, like, a battle royal that was supposed to be, like, a Money in the Bank.
Oh, and yeah.
I'm pretty sure I eliminated Cyrus, and then I started talking shit on him, and then it's Mike MP3 eliminates me, and then me and Cyrus argued in the back. So we did this whole thing where we didn't like each other. We were very, like, against each other, and we were put together as a team against, I believe they were called Iron Sabbath.
Yeah.
But it was Pat Hardy, he was the Machine at the time, and Dabbing J. Rollins.
Yeah, I remember Iron Sabbath.
It was for the tag team titles, which technically Cyrus and I still have, but they're kind of like just not a thing right now because we don't have much of a tag team division. But yeah, we won the tag team titles. It was pretty cool, and I thought it was, Bryce gave us that respect that, he understood and respected that we've been doing this for, almost 2 decades, and basically was just like, hey, here's the tag team titles, run with them. And I mean, it was an alright match. It wasn't the best match I've ever been in, but it was alright. And it was literally the first time I ever went off the top rope, which I was honestly shitting myself doing. If you watch the match, you could see how fast I did it too, because it was pretty much like I didn't even like stand on the top turnbuckle. I just kind of kicked off of it, and I was like, "Let's go."
Are you proud of you?
It was thanks, man. Like like a lot of the things take a lot of courage, like especially with my size and stuff like that. Like jumping, like it's a scary fucking thing.
Oh.
One of my, like, I finally did a suicide dive against Sexy Scott a couple weeks back, or a month back, or whatever it was. Like, that took a lot, because that was like the scariest thing in the world for me.
Yeah, I know.
And now I
going
want
for my first suicide was scary.
Now I want to punch my reference card. Yeah, it's a scary thing. I tried doing it to Nirvana, I remember, and he uppercutted me, just like I did to you in our match.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but you were like halfway out of the ring when you went for that suicide dive, and then he uppercutted you.
He nailed me, dude. And I was just like, shit. Because I was like, yo, I'm going to do a suicide dive. If you don't want me to give you the suicide dive, just counter it somehow or move. And I'm halfway through, and just bam, right in the jaw. But, yeah, so that was a cool match, that tag team match. It was good to be in a different company. It was honestly good to be back. It was good to be back to wrestling, because, like, 5-year hiatus, I think it was, man. Like, we didn't wrestle. And then it was just like, out of nowhere, you're the tag team champions of a company.
Yeah, that's going to lead me on to my next 2 questions here. We'll just start out with the first one. What drove you into retirement? Like, what made you say, like, yeah, alright, I gotta stop this just for my sake? And then you retired. What?
There was a point in my life where I was super unhealthy. Like, the highest I ever got to in weight, I believe, was 420 pounds. And at that time was when I was at 420 pounds. It was honestly, and it was the end of the season too. It was the last pay-per-view of the season. I was the world champion, and I actually had a decent run at world champion in my last run. But yeah, I was like 420 pounds. I was unhealthy. I didn't feel good. And my wrestling suffered really badly because of it. I was getting injured a lot. I believe that year I hurt my back really bad. I was just super injury prone that year, and I feel it was because of my weight and stuff like that. And I just felt like I couldn't do it. I felt like it was time to hang up the proverbial boots and just call it quits. I actually had a retirement match too. The last pay-per-view of the season was called End of Days, I think. It was Cyrus, Sexy Scott, and myself. And because Cyrus is the one that ran BCW, he owned it. I requested it personally because our first ever BCW event was Sexy Scott, Cyrus, and myself for the world title, in which Sexy Scott won. And then I was like, well, this is going to be my last match, and I wanted to end how it started. So we set up the match. We had the triple threat. I lost. Cyrus won that. I believe it was. He did his finisher. His finisher was spear. He did something in spear. I think he speared both of us or something. Endless both or something. But he won it, and that was my retirement. There was like one of those like pathetic Hulk Hogan comebacks I had like the following season. But it lasted maybe 2 events and then to retirement. We didn't have a lot of events in the last season because people were just like, it's kind of the same thing as XWL. Like people were just going separate ways and people grew up and stuff like that. But yeah, it was basically like, and at this point I was actually still 420 and like I came back. I had a match or two. They really were not good. And it was just like, I guess I was just trying to like push it, but then I realized I couldn't. I went back to retirement right after that. And I didn't wrestle up again until this year. Well, that's not true. Actually, we had a comeback event kind of thing in 2015. But it was only one show, and I wasn't even, it was a different thing, but I don't really count that. But yeah, we, up until this year, that was pretty much it.
What brought you back into it? Like, that retirement story, that's a pretty good story, but what was like, okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure if I could get back into shape, I could get back into wrestling. Like, what made you want to do that?
Honestly, the funniest thing is I didn't. We had, like I said, we had that event in 2015, and I wasn't in super bad shape for the event. I did 2 matches. We did I was under a hood. My name was like Anpasna Yeldardine or something like that. Like it was just some random character. I basically wanted like a luchador Finn Balor kind of thing going on. That's basically what it was. And we did that match, and then there was like the world title match or whatever we did, which was also me, Scott, and Cyrus. And we had that event. We didn't do another event after that. I don't even know why. We were supposed to, like, people wanted to come back and stuff like that, and we wanted to do it again. And it just didn't happen. It didn't pan out. VCW was pretty much dead at that point. And this year, actually, basically, RJ Carney, he was talking about ECW.
Oh, hold on, man. I'm sorry, but your mic seems to be screwing up here a little bit.
You hear me now?
Oh, yeah. You're getting there.
Sorry about that.
You're good.
He was talking to Cyrus and I about our ECW and Bryce and the guys and all this stuff. And he said he started back at wrestling. He watched some of the videos, which I mean, like, at this point weren't very good. It was, them down in a field somewhere wrestling each other and having really bad matches. And Cyrus he was like, yo, like, I thought he was joking around, but he was like, hey, we could come back and totally just show him how it's done and all that stuff. And I was like, oh, yeah. And it wasn't that never wanted to wrestle again. It was just at that point, I just wasn't entirely sure if it's something I wanted to continue doing, like backyard wrestling. I mean. And he convinced me, but I believe our first show back was WBW, unfortunately. We went to a WBW because that's where they were at the time. That's where like ECW was doing their stuff. It was just around the time they started doing the crossover stuff. Bryce was there, and RJ was there, and me, his father, Cyrus, we all went down and we watched an event. I mean. And after the event, we kind of had like a dark match. It was me, Cyrus, and RJ Carnage. We had a dark match. And afterwards, Tattersall was just like, "Hey, man, like, you guys are really good. We'd like you to wrestle for us." And I was just like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I still don't know if I want to do this. And then there was, like, the following week we came. It was, like, the last time we were at WBW. We showed up and we started this whole, like, our name was The Revolution. It was me, Rick, and Cyrus, and we were going to come in and take over everything and beat everyone's ass. And then we had a match against each other. And I was like, I guess this isn't so bad. And then we went to DBW the following week. We went down to Maryland for that. And I started wearing the mask, which only lasted, I don't know, like a month. The mask was maybe a month long. I've done mask characters before, but I think the Phoenix mask thing was like a month long. But I started wearing the mask and stuff. We had our match, and like, it felt good, man. Like, we were, like, it was our first time back in, like, it was my first time back in a ring. It was Steve's first time in a ring, and we tore the house down, and it was really good, and I just loved the feeling. And then ECW happened. We got into ECW, and Cyrus isn't as he doesn't do as much in ECW as I do. I have mentioned, we all know, like, I do a lot more, but
yeah.
It turned into that. It was just, I basically caught that bug again. I needed to come back. I couldn't not come back. It was something I absolutely felt like I needed to start doing again. And honestly, like, it's helped me a lot. Like, I've gotten back in better shape because of wrestling. And that's basically how I came back. It was Cyrus, talking me into it, and eventually I was just like, you know what, I love it. Especially in ECW. Like, ECW just started becoming this thing that I really love doing. Originally, I even wanted no part of, like, the management team. I wanted to be no part of that. Like, at first, I was like, I just want to come in, wrestle, and move. I started to fall in love with the company, the product, everybody, and it was just like, I need to be a part of it.
Oh,
The champ is here.
that's great. Yeah, he is our current champ, and we have had matches before. Overall, like you said, it was a really good match. Definitely one of my best.
Round two. Like, I'm waiting for you to get done with your feud with Dylan so I can just wrestle you again.
Yeah, man. I'm more than willing to have a match with you anytime. And even a feud.
Thanks.
I'll do a feud.
I would love for us to have a rivalry.
I would absolutely crap myself if we have a round 2, even a round 3. Like, it would be amazing.
Like, it'd be good.
Alright, well, because on behalf of Phoenix's request, we're going to hype up this pay-per-view here a little bit. And we're going to start off with the main event of the show. Phoenix versus Navon McDonald for the ECW Championship. Would you care to explain everything that went into this match?
I mean, do you want the kayfabe reason, or do you want me to, like, get real with you here?
You can do kayfabe reason, then we'll go into real reasons.
Well, I mean, the story goes, what was it, Hardcore Christmas, I believe the event was called. I didn't have a match. I came out because I'm basically the John Cena. I'm the face of the company right now. Came out, wanted to thank everybody for coming. It was a big event, too. It was, we had, what was it, NGW, BEW, DBW, and ECW was our biggest card that we've had. I remember stressing out about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he came out and Vaughn challenged me, and I wasn't just letting him have a title shot right then and there. So he challenged me. I said, all right, put up your King of the Mountain title. I'll put up a title shot. Whoever wins. Whatever happens, happens. And he kicked my ass. He handed my ass right to me, and now he has a world title shot this Saturday at, I believe it's called Overdose, I believe it's called.
I believe it's Overdose. I'm not certain on that. But, yeah, what's the real reason behind you versus Navon?
Okay, real talk. It was basically their first event that they came down. The BEW versus ECW crossover. Where basically every match we had, we got our asses kicked. I was technically injured. I was technically not supposed to have a match. However, Jay Rollins did not have a match. And I was like, you know what, screw it. I'll just have a match. Ran home real quick, changed into my gear, came back, had my little match that no one watched. I didn't even care. It was just to do it. I watched Mike and Navon have their match, and it was insane. It was ridiculous. And I believe he was Novin during the match.
Yeah, he was Novin.
It was crazy. It was just the most ludicrous thing I've ever seen. And like we were tearing each other apart. And the only thing I could think of that entire time, God, I love the wrestling. So we had that whole thing at the end where like you guys were all fighting, and then I pretty much came out and fucking cleared house. Like after that, after the camera went off, and we were saying our goodbyes and all that stuff. Because I usually leave after events because I'm starving or really tired or something. So I usually leave right away. But yeah, I was like, yo, dude, like the next time you guys come down, you and I have to have a match. So that was actually, it was being set up, and it was before I was even the world champion. It was being set up, and we were all for it, and then it was actually kind of like a goof on Rick's part, because Rick came to ref one of the events that weren't a pay-per-view. And it was the event where me and Pat were going at each other. Like we kept I attacked him, and then like we kept fighting and stuff like that. And we had that giant brawl in the ring. And Rick was just like, "All right, well, you want a title shot so bad, you can have it next week." And I'm like, "Oh God, like you're not even a manager or nothing. What are you doing, Rick?" And Bryce, with his quick thinking, thank God, like he just jumped to it. He's like, "You know what? Screw it, triple threat match." Because the way Bryce and I had planned it actually was Pat was supposed to face Cameron and beat him while Pat was the world champion. And then the following event, like the week later, I was supposed to win the title off Pat. That's the way we planned it. And it was basically just so like we could have someone like high caliber like run with the belt and have good stories. And so it was a storyline. Like I really didn't care if I was the champ or not. It was just a storyline. I wanted to have a good front story. And so I was thrown into the triple threat match. And at this point, I was thinking, because like we did it at DBW that month, and we did it like at one of the weekly shows for ECW. Like we had double, triple wrestling, and I hate that. I don't like it. Doesn't the show doesn't look good if a wrestler has to wrestle twice without a story read. So I was like, I don't want to pull double duty. And I have this world title match, and it's a triple threat, and it's going to be huge. And so I talked to Navon. I'm like, Navon, like, not this time, but like the next time, I promise. And then we had Cyrus. We ended up putting Cyrus against Navon, and it ended up being a really good match. At the time, I feel I could not have put on a better match than they did at the time. But so there was that, and then I had the triple threat match where I won a world title, and then I was like, Navon, like, next time you come down, man, it's me and you. And then we absolutely did it, and oh God, we planned it we had so many, like, all those spots planned with the Christmas tree and everything like that. Like, he was so excited. Like, Navon was so excited. I was excited.
Yeah, I know. I remember, I'm sorry to cut you off here, but I remember walking up the hill and seeing you guys set up the Christmas tree.
Yeah, man, I trimmed the hell out of that tree for like an hour while like 3 matches went on.
Yeah, Yeah, I know. I was there. I was with you when you were buying the Christmas tree.
Yeah, you were, man. It was crazy though, because it was like the funniest thing about the Christmas tree. It was like, why am I doing this? We just spent all this money, and Yvonne actually spent like. See, I bought like a $5 Christmas tree. He actually, we went back to the store. He bought like a $20 Christmas tree, and then he spent probably $15 on ornaments. And I'm like, this dude just spent all this money on a Christmas tree that I'm gonna throw him into. Like, that's it. And I spent all that time just trimming it so it looked awesome. But yeah, so that's basically how that came about with Navon. It was something that was in the makings for a while. She postponed it, but eventually we got to it, and then we're going for round 2 this weekend. And a first blood match, by the way.
Oh, and a first blood match.
First blood match. I don't know if I've mentioned that at all. He doesn't like. He likes to keep the element of surprise, but I'm okay with giving a few things away. Yeah, it's a first blood match.
Oh man, do you think, little kayfabe shoot here, but do you think Navon's gonna come out as Novin?
I don't know. He hasn't told me. I've asked a billion times. And I'm like, are you going to be Navon or are you going to be Novin? Like, because this is a first blood match. This sounds like something up Novin's alley. And it was like, he'll, you know, he won't even say Tim or anything, but Phoenix, you'll find out on Saturday. I'm just glad it's not Sunday, because then he'd kick my ass twice.
Oh yeah, I could kick your ass twice on Sundays. But
on Sunday.
Yeah, is there any matches you're honestly hyped to see on that pay-per-view card?
The entire card, man. I mean, there are some things we have to, you know, play around with because Paul's not making it, and I don't know everyone that's going to be there. I'm actually really, I want to see Jay Madness versus Cameron Jackson. I can't wait to see that.
Me either.
Jay literally refused a world title shot against me to prepare for this match with Cameron, and it was postponed a week, so he's preparing even more. So I can't wait to see that. That's going to be insane. And I mean, I think it was a perfect opponent after like the last pay-per-view where Jay got screwed by like the NGW guys, and Cameron had that really bad match with Pat and Ryan. So Ryan was being a fucko.
Oh yeah.
It's like it's kind of just like giving them a gift. Like, here you go, guys, wrestle each other. You're gonna have a fantastic time. Your match, I am really, really hyped to see because the last one was fantastic.
Thank you.
Like I that match really felt like you guys didn't even plan it. You were just like, oh yeah, so I'm just gonna come back out after the battle royal and be like, I want to fight you, and like you guys, it felt like you guys planned maybe the finish or a spot or two, and then just you winged it, and it came out really great.
Oh, we planned out only like 2 or 3 spots, and then had the finish like somewhat planned out.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, so we're gonna make you look strong, or we're gonna make me look strong. And he's like, yeah, do it with the bat.
It turned out fantastic, man, and it was good. It was a good way to do it. Yeah, because you had the whole disqualification thing, because that way, you know, he didn't look bad being his like I think it was his first event there, right?
Yeah, it was his first.
Yeah, and then he didn't look bad, and you just won the title, so you look good too. And
yeah,
I can't wait to see. I really cannot wait to see round 2, because at this point, see, now the beautiful thing about round 2 is it's like it's not a whole okay, we're both gonna look strong thing. Like, it can go either way on this, and hopefully, I'm hoping y'all don't have like a disqualification like finish plan. Like, I want a clean finish here with this, because I need to know.
Oh, trust me, we would not have a disqualification ending on this.
Good.
Like, that would be so.
Biggest thing. All my title matches, they don't have like, it's no rules. Like, I don't like disqualification and stuff like that. Especially now that I'm a face, like I can't lose or win the belt.
Yeah, and if you do lose, you have to do it clean.
Yeah, like, because that's another thing too. Like, especially because down in DPW, I'm a heel still. Like, I'm a bad guy, and every match that we've won in DPW as the Dark Brotherhood has been clean. We've not cheated to win at all, because that's like not our thing. Like, we're terrible bad guys. We don't cheat. Like, we don't lie. It's straight. We're gonna come in and kick your ass, and we're gonna win because we're better. Basically, we're just a bunch of assholes. But like, we don't cheat. I think that's my point. I like clean wins. I don't like cheating. And then I feel, unless it was absolutely necessary to the story, I feel like if it's something like it ends in disqualification, like that always happens in WWE pay-per-views, like it ends in disqualification or count out or someone gets knocked out. I feel like that really takes away from the magic of the match. Like, I can't tell you how many world title matches I've seen or main events at a pay-per-view that, like, it tore the house down up until the end, because the end was just, oh, it's gone.
Cough, cough, Dean Ambrose versus AJ Styles. Cough, cough, James
Yeah.
Ellsworth.
Oh, yeah, that too. Even when AJ won the belt, too, I was actually a little upset about that, because he had to kick him in the balls before he gave him the Styles Clash.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I was upset about that. Like, you couldn't just let the dude just Styles Clash him and then win. Like,
Oh, yeah. What other matches are there on the card?
as far as I know, there was supposed to be, it was supposed to be Yankee and Bryce against Paul and
Pat. But
Pat.
that got swapped around a bit.
Yeah, so now I believe it's Bryce versus Pat in a grudge match kind of thing. I'm not sure who Yankee's wrestling if Yankee's making it. I hope Yankee does make it.
I hope Yankee makes it too.
I really do, because he's a great wrestler. Like, we could put him against anybody in the tournament.
Yeah, like him and Steven Adams. That was a pretty good match.
Oh yeah, that was a good match, and it was just like it was impromptu. I know it. There's the scramble. There's a scramble. I don't know if I told you. I don't know if you knew about that.
No.
It's basically like a championship scramble. It is, I believe, Steven Adams versus Happy versus Cyrus versus Sexy Scott versus Jay Rollins. The winner of the scramble, like, do you know how the championship scramble works?
Yeah.
All right, it's same rules. But the winner is the number one contender for the world title. So the winner will face Navon or myself, more likely me, at the next pay-per-view in the title match.
You know, I think it's gonna be Happy. I think Happy is finally gonna get the push he deserved and main event that
I
pay-per-view.
mean, I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate if Happy won it. Honestly, I was actually considering if Yankee makes it. I was considering throwing Yankee in the match, because that would be interesting.
That would be cool.
But yeah, so there's that. There's Cam and Jay. There's you and Johnny. There's me and Navon. I'm not really sure about the other ones. I gotta figure it out. Like, I want to put, like, I want to have a bunch of matches. But we have to see who shows up, basically. And I told Bryce, when we see who's there, when we see who shows up the day of the event, we'll finish the card real quick and figure it out. But those are, like, the main... Even if we had just those matches, man, and great event. Okay.
It would still be a good show.
Oh, absolutely. I just, like, I don't want it to turn into, like, the last pay-per-view where me and Navon pretty much had to make up for everything, because, like, a lot of the matches were super botched. And
Yeah, like my match, the ending.
Oh,
The match was alright. Like, the first 10 minutes was really good. And then the last 5, or, like, the last 10 ended up being really bad. And then the ending was botched. Because what was supposed to happen is I was supposed to hit Jay with, like, this RKO move, right? This RKO type move.
Yeah.
And then I'd get up and I'd put him into the sliced bread. But, you know, he was supposed to go down all the way, and I jumped up too early, and he never went down all the way, so it was, like, really hard.
it happens, man. Like, things like that happen. Some people have rough days. Like, I see the thing with the craziest thing too is I wasn't even really having a good day the day of that match with Navon, but it turned out so good. And it was basically because, like, a lot of things got fucked up. A lot of things were ruined. Like, the finish for the triple threat match with Judgment, Bryce, and Johnny, like, that was so awkward, it wasn't even funny. It was just like everyone's kind of just standing around. Judgment randomly does a move to Johnny Reed, walks out, and Bryce just pins him. Hey, Bryce is in the Murder Club now.
It's like, oh, yeah. Yeah. And that
Yeah,
was
it was an awkward thing. It was just like because and nothing against any of the guys that were in the segment. The three of them are all
no.
everyone that was all they're all fantastic wrestlers. Some of them are pros. Like it was just a weird day and things were awkward. But yeah, like
Yeah, it was.
it should be hard though. Overdose is going to be good.
Yeah.
I
Alright.
mean, if anything, I'm super pumped.
Well, what's gonna happen now is I'm gonna start naming off wrestlers, and I want you to take a shoot on them. Alright?
Okay.
Alright, so first off, at his personal request, Dill Von Satan.
Dylan Von Satan. You know what? I love him. I love. Now here's the funny thing: is his character is a ripoff. He's ripping off what's his face, Sean O'Hare.
Oh, yeah.
He's even using He uses Sean O'Hare's music from when Sean O'Hare was doing this whole like anti-government thing or whatever the hell he was. It's a fun gimmick. It works, and he comes out and it's like when he does it, like honestly, like he has no real like oomph into it. It's just like you could tell he's just like, okay, I'm gonna say this and that and this and that, and then he repeats it. But I love it, and we were joking around a week or two ago. We were joking around about how his sports bag is like it's gonna be his tag team partner, and it's actually
Yeah,
like,
I was there. I remember that.
stuff. Yeah, like. I pray to God he runs with that. I really do. I pray to God that he does that. I'd let the damn bag pin me. I wouldn't care. But yeah, Dylan Von Satan is. I love his character. He doesn't wrestle a lot. He hasn't wrestled a lot, but I mean, he'll get better the more he does. And I can't honestly wait to like watch this feud with you guys. It's gonna be fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, it's already started. Like, he cut a promo on me, and then I cut one back. And then I'm waiting on him to see what he does next. But,
Well, I guess we'll.
Alright. Next wrestler, Bryce Van Pelt.
You know what? Bryce is a character, man. He sometimes doesn't have the greatest ideas, and sometimes like he just like he'll tell me his ideas, and I'm like, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. But like, his passion is ridiculous. He loves wrestling, and even when it's a ridiculous idea, he plays it out so perfectly. Like it could be the worst of ideas, like, and he just does it perfectly. Like he's the worst bad guy in all of the land, but his character is fantastic. His wrestling has gotten a lot better since I've met him, and he's living his dream, man. Like he's doing good things. And honestly, if it wasn't for Bryce, I probably wouldn't be where I am. So I got to give him a lot of credit. I'm still waiting to get into an actual match with him, which I'm pretty sure is going to happen at some point, because I believe after my Navon feud, me and him are going to go at.
Go for it. Like, I would love to see you and Bryce one-on-one in a match. I'm pretty sure it'll be a classic.
Now that he's gotten like so much better, because back in September when we had that match, like it wasn't so great. But he's like in the past couple months, he's just excelled like completely, and I can't wait to have a match with him now.
I can't wait to see it all. Alright. MP3.
MP3. Dude, like, there is nothing this man has done that I haven't liked. My first match back after, like, the tag team match, because I took, like, a week or two hiatus, was against him. I beat him for the hardcore title. And it was a really good match. I love wrestling him. I love watching him wrestle. I have no idea how this dude is not a professional wrestler. Like, he puts his body on the line like crazy. He's consistent with his character, too. I mean, there was the Spider Freak thing or whatever. I don't know if he's still doing that or not. But he's consistent with his character. He keeps it. He just comes out and he just kills people, man. Like, him and Pat have amazing matches. I've watched them have, I think, 2 or 3 matches this year. and I've been completely in awe every time I watch them.
Those were phenomenal matches, I will admit. I'm pretty sure I've seen one at least. I feel like I had to have, but
Yeah, I think one of them was Worth Your Time. And then there was the one, that glass one they had.
Oh yeah, the one with the glass.
Yeah, that was a really good one. And
That was.
I was like super surprised by it.
Oh, that was the show that we wrestled at with our match,
Yeah, we had to follow that shit.
and it was really complicated because no one knew who had the best match of the night. Like,
Yeah.
it was either you and me or Pat and
I think-
MP3.
I think they're on equal footing. They did their thing, we did our thing. I'm not big on match of the night kind of. If it's a pay-per-view, I guess. Like, I'm going to try to be the best match. And I remember actually when I fought Navon, no, not when I fought Navon, when I had the triple threat that I won the world title in, against Cameron and Pat, I was literally shaking after Steve and Navon had the match. I was shaking like for an hour. Like Scott had
Oh,
to
yeah.
come over and talk. I was terrified. I was not following that. Like, I was terrified that I wasn't going to like one up it or anything like that.
I'd suggest fixing your mic again because it's going a little staticky, but other than that, you should be good.
Is it good?
Yeah. But, alright, I'm going to give you 2 more names to shoot on, and then we'll probably end off the interview here. But, yeah, so,
Alright.
next guy, RJ Carnage.
You know, he has a lot of potential. He actually knows what he's doing. We've raised him on wrestling. He knows wrestling in and out. It's in his blood. Steve and I trained him ourselves. Like, and not even just like, hey, we're going to start training. We've been training this kid since he was 4. Like, we've been wrestling with him and teaching him moves and all this stuff and teaching like psychology of wrestling and all that stuff since he was 4. The only problem is he has a horrible attitude. He gets mad way too easily if something doesn't go his way or something like that, or if Bryce wants to put him in something ridiculous. And then he flips out and he quits over stupid things. And he's too impatient. He wants to be the world champion like right now. And I mean, I wrestled for... I want to say I was a wrestler for 5-6 years before I won my first world title. Like, it doesn't come overnight. Like, I wouldn't mind, like, I have no problem with giving him a belt. Like, at some point down the line, if he wants to be the YouTube champion or something, that's fine. Hardcore champion, whatever. But he really has to show us, like, he's not going to quit and he's going to actually, do his thing and come in every week and, do his part. And then, maybe we'll give him the title, Like, maybe he'll get a world title shot. There was a point where, and this is pretty much how Bryce and I do it. It's if you earned it, we're gonna give it to you. That's why we made you YouTube champ, dude. Like, you came in and you were here for a month and you worked harder than anybody at all the entire year, including myself. And that's why we gave you the YouTube championship. We were actually at one point supposed to give Ryan the world title. But he started not showing up, and had a different excuse every week for not being there. And then he broke the table during the pay-per-view. Like, so it was like, why are we going to give you a title shot if you're just going to keep doing this stuff? But so RJ he needs to keep working at it, not give up, and he'll get something. Like, he does a great job in DBW. He's tag team champions right now with Blaze. Like, it's just, that's what it is. It's work ethic.
That's a really interesting story about RJ. Alright, last shoot. Here we go. You ready?
Yep.
Me. Shoot on me right now. Go for it.
Pound Zach Romig. Honestly, I'll be 100% honest with you. You're a good wrestler. You do your thing. You're fantastic. You come in, like I said, you've been busting your ass, and you've excelled faster than I've seen a lot of people excel. Like, you get it. You're naturally good at wrestling. it's your mental state that concerns me because every time you have a match, whether it was good or bad, it was instantly like, hey, was that a 5-star match? Was that a great match? You know, and I understand, dude. Like you want to be good. Like you want people to like your stuff, and you want people that's what it is. That's what wrestling is. Like, if people don't like you, you're not doing your job. Or if people hate you, you're not doing your job. Like that's the thing with wrestling. It's just my feeling is you're too concerned with what people think. But other than that, dude, like you see, the thing is, too, it's like you don't even need to be concerned, man, because you come in, and even if you have a bad match, dude, like you still busted your ass. Like you work hard, you do your thing, you do everything we've ever asked of you. Like we could probably ask you to fucking lose to Shiva, and you do it. Like no problem. See, and I love that. That's a good work ethic. But like the thing is, like wrestling's a two-way street. You can't like let's put it this way. If let's say it was me and like Steven Adams instead of me and Navon, that match would have sucked. And it's not because Steven Adams is a super bad wrestler or anything like that. It's just there were two high caliber wrestlers in the match. Like your triple threat match you had with Jay. Like Jay, let's be honest, Jay's not a great wrestler.
I'll be honest. No, he's not.
And Blaze, I mean, he's young. I think he's like 9 or 10. Like he still has a lot to learn, and like he's still super fresh about it. It seems, and I mean, it was just maybe it was a bad combo. I personally, I'm probably to blame for that because I'm the one that made the match.
Oh, but it's fine. Jay and I were doing our feud thing, and
yeah, it was just we had during that card, man. Like we had so many people there, it was almost impossible to put a card together. So I had to like interject people into other matches. Like I had to put that tag team match, like the 8-man tag match together, because if I didn't, like that, we were screwed.
Oh yeah, that tag match. That was a pretty good match in the end. I liked it.
Yeah, it was pretty decent. It turned out I didn't even honestly that day I didn't watch any match. I didn't watch any match at all. Short of me saying it's time to wrap it up. And it wasn't even like me watching the match that like made me say it was time to wrap it up. It was just like I'd look at the clock. All right, 15 minutes is back.
Yeah, like
I was so concerned with match times and my own match because like it was against Navon and this was huge. That I didn't even really pay attention, but I watched all of them after they were uploaded, and I mean, let's like put it this way, man. Like it wasn't worse than Paul and Cheeks.
Oh, poor Paul. Poor Paul.
I know, and I tried. I actually tried to. That's the thing that sucked too, actually, because this event, this Saturday was supposed to be RJ Carnage versus Paul in like an I Quit match, and I gave that match to Paul because the whole Cheeks man. I was like, well, let's put him against a good wrestler. So now maybe we'll have RJ Carnage versus Yankee,
Yeah, maybe. Maybe we'll give Yankee the I Quit match. But I remember, like, right after the match, we went on for what you thought was 2 minutes, which ended up being around, like, 18 to 20. We were supposed to go on 15, 20 minutes. And you, after my match, like, I was really mad. Because of two reasons. The ending and because of what Jay did to me with the bat. What he did is, like, he stuck a baseball bat in between my legs and kicked the baseball bat and wouldn't let go. So, yeah, my nuts were crushed in. And I was really mad. So,
I would be too, man.
Anyways, you come storming down to me. And you're like, dude, what the hell is that? I'm like, dude, I asked him to end it 3 times, and I was really mad. Like, you and I were both mad. And
yeah,
I think that was personally, looking back on it, pretty funny. It was kind of great, but
yeah. Well, see, the thing is, dude, like, basically, you were the ringleader of that match. You were the one that was keeping the flow of it going. So that's why I came to you about it.
Yeah, I know.
I also yelled at Jay afterwards. I didn't yell at Blaze because it's not really my place. Like, he's not even an ECW wrestler. But like, yeah, I gave Jay a lot of shit after that too. I was like, dude, what the hell? But I mean, like I said, dude, it happens. Like, people have bad days, people have good days. Sometimes the person you wrestle against isn't, the greatest person to put you against.
Yeah.
That's what I try to do with cards too, man. Like, if I'm the one making the card, like, I try to put people that have good chemistry or I know they're gonna be great against each other. I was actually super surprised that my match against Happy and Bozo turned out decent. Like, I thought that was gonna be like a shit show.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was gonna be awful, but it actually turned out to be an okay match. Honestly, I would love to actually have a rivalry with Zach. Not necessarily as Happy because, like, I don't want the whole, like, scared clown thing as an opponent, but, like, whatever he's gonna do next, like, I would love to rival against him because he's actually fun to wrestle.
Oh yeah, no, he's fun to just watch wrestle. Like,
like his stuff with Happy is phenomenal.
it is. He made a scared clown gimmick go over. That's talent.
Yeah, dude, and it was just like he comes out to like Sweet Dreams, he starts dancing, like, and the funny thing is like the Bozo part of the gimmick, like, it's just like whenever we need Bozo, we use him. Like, we don't even need Bozo most of the time because Bozo didn't get over at all. It was just like because Zach just took it and like, and the funniest thing it wasn't even supposed to be like a staying gimmick. It was just. It was just so Bryce can have like clown people with him after he turned on me. And then he turned on them like a week after having them, and then he just like Happy just stayed. It was basically like Kenny Dykstra.
Yeah, but you see, this time Kenny actually was pretty good.
Yeah, like, dude, I'm not even kidding you. Like, I'm not saying necessarily against me, but like I think it would be hilarious. Let's say like Bryce is the champ sometime in the future. If like Happy stole a win off of Bryce or something like that and won the belt, like, even if it was just for a week, even if it was just for the night, like, I think that would make me go nuts. Like, anybody, like, because I'm just saying, because like he's a good guy, I'm a good guy, so like, if it was like any bad guy, if they were the champ. If he just beat them like in a fucking roll up or something, not even like he got a lot of offense. He could have got his ass kicked the entire match, and then just hits a roll up 1, 2, 3. He's the champ. I would die. That would be perfect.
Oh god, I'd die of laughter.
Like, that's what I'm saying. It would just be the funniest damn thing. And like I said Bryce because I know Bryce would perfectly react to it. Bryce has Bryce has that, like, so bad he's good at being a bad guy thing that, like, he's a ridiculous 80s bad guy. That's what it is. He's just, like, he plays his character very well, and he's super flamboyant and out there, and, like this whole thing he's doing now with the, the Diamond of Wrestling.
Yeah.
That whole thing it's great, and it just... Like, the way he segued into it is ridiculous. Like, Brie shoved a cupcake in his face and he got amnesia, so now he's Victor Van Pelt. That's ridiculous, but, like, the gimmick is just out there, man. Like, it's crazy. He comes out with a fur coat, like, and it's, like, 2 times his size. It's way too big on him. And he doesn't care, and he just comes out and he's like, oh, I'm the Diamond of Wrestling, and, I'm the bank cleaner and all this stuff. And he just... So Bryce does that, and I think Bryce and Happy would be a perfect match. Like, he hits him with a roll-up, Bryce, like, freaks out about it. It'd be perfect.
God, that would be so
That
funny.
would probably go over faster than I did.
And that's saying something. You're, like, the most over thing in this company right now.
Yeah, I'm saying, dude, like, I put on a goofy beard, and I came out to a fucking goofy song, and I'm just like,
Yeah, and like all you hear
Everyone
is just
loves it.
vodka.
Everyone loves it. See, that was the thing, man. I was like, if I'm gonna be a good guy, like, I'm not gonna get all serious and stuff, and I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm not gonna be like Captain America and just be like justice and righteousness. No, I'm gonna be a goofy asshole and just be silly and like do it. Like, And it was funny too because when I like the Viking gimmick thing, it originally came up when we started wrestling again in WBW. We came out to like Viking metal songs, and Steve and I were all just doing like I had a beard and Steve had a beard, and we were just doing like this Viking stuff. But we were like just acting like badasses and stuff. But like this time around, I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna be a goofy Viking. Screw it. Like the character's ridiculous enough. Let's just be goofy about it and have a good time.
Yeah. Alright, I think this is a good way to end off the interview here. So yeah, is there anything you'd want to advertise before we head off?
Come down to, I don't know the address, Payne Ave, Saturday. 1 p.m. is bell time. We are having our Overdose pay-per-view. Hellhound Zach Romig is going to be fighting Johnny Reed to defend his YouTube championship. I'm going to be fighting Yvonne McDonald for the World Heavyweight title.
That's right.
Definitely come and watch it. It's going to be good. It's going to be a great time. It's never a bad time at ECW.
No. Even with like
Unless
4
it's,
matches on the card, we'll still make the best of it.
Sure. You know what? There's going to be more than 4 matches, I guarantee you. People are going to show up. And oh, yeah, there's also MP3 versus JJ Massacre. They're having a rematch.
Oh, they're having their rematch. Alright, I can't wait to see that.
It's at least 5 matches right there. That's going to be gold.
Yeah. Alright, so guys, if you like this video, please leave a like on it. And if you really liked it, go ahead and subscribe. MP3, or not MP3, gosh, I'm so sorry, Tim. Tim, thank you so much for coming on to this interview here.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And yeah, guys, I'll see you all in the next video. Alright, guys. Peace!